Hello, Flosstube. I wanted to get in on the Flosstube fun, and I thought that I would start with a video with the stitching tag, Know Your Needle Worker. I think this was originally done by Winsa Daisical back in October of 2014. Um, Many of you know me as Eclectic Possessions on Instagram, or Emily, those of us that have formed a closer relationship. Question number one, where do you live? I live just outside of Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States. What do you do for a living? I'm a child advocate. I work for a nonprofit organization that I supervise volunteers who work with children in the foster care system. So cross-stitching is a really good outlet for me. Number three, do you have any children? I do not. My husband and I actually don't have plans to have children. I think working in this field has probably had an effect on that. That leads us to question number four, do you have any pets? We do. We have two cats, which are our furry children. Number five, what are your other hobbies besides stitching? I was an avid reader before I picked cross-stitching up again. I really need to look into books on audio because I would really like to be able to still be up on current books and get my stitching done at the same time. I love antiques and antiquing. It is a joy of mine and my husband's. We try to find bargains because working in social work, if any of you out there know, there's not a lot of money in that. I am an avid Pinterester. So if any of you are interested in that, I will try to link my Pinterest account down below. I was originally an interior design major before I switched over to psychology and finished out with my bachelor's in that. So I enjoy interior design. I also love old houses and buildings and urban exploration. And there's actually a few pictures in my home that I've taken out criminally trespassing, with permission on properties throughout this area. Let's see. What's your favorite movie? Hands down, Labyrinth. And I don't generally like children's movies. I'm actually a horror movie fanatic. But I love Labyrinth. I love it. What is your favorite TV show? My husband and I watch entirely too much television. We are both big fans of The Walking Dead, and for those of you who know, Fear the Walking Dead has just started, so we have watched both episodes of that. Really love it. Also, let's see, I've got a list here, a cheat sheet I'm looking at. Also, I watch Grimm, Supernatural. I loved Sons of Anarchy, Breaking Bad when they were on. Other shows that aren't on anymore that I'm a big fan of, like Freaks and Geeks and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Kind of an uber nerd. Love Joss Whedon, for any of you who know who Joss Whedon is. What is your favorite book? I was totally the kid on the playground as a kid with the book, not playing. I read a lot of John Saul and R.L. Stine books and anything thriller or horror. As I've gotten into this career, I read a lot of memoirs, particularly addiction and mental illness memoirs. I just find them incredibly fascinating. So my bookshelf upstairs is kind of filled to the brim with those. I do enjoy some young adult novels every now and then, kind of an escapism from the world that I work in. So I read all the Twilight and the Hunger Games and all of those. They're fun. What is your favorite music? I love singer-songwriter music. Bob Dylan and, let's see, looking back to the cheat sheet. Bob Dylan, Cat Stevens, Regina Spektor, Missy Higgins with the White Stripes. Throw that in there. For those of you who don't know, if you know who Zooey Deschanel is, she also is a musical artist, and she is part of a band called She and Him. If you like old-timey sounding music, it's fantastic. You should check it out. Last question, what word would best describe you? Well, my handle on Instagram is Eclectic Possessions, so I would probably say eclectic, kind of a mishmash hodgepodge of different things, which I think has come from growing up small town and then living in a big city for a while and created this. So, okay, let's get into my current whips that I'm working on. First one is a Heaven and Earth design. It is Summer by Alphonse Mucha. See if I can get that on there. That is the design. And this is where I am on it. Those of you who follow me on Instagram, okay, gotta figure this out, will be familiar. So I'm probably about 9, 10, 11 pages in, something like that. I just love how her face has turned out. I think she's gorgeous. But the fabric goes down for a few more feet, so this is going to be something I work on for years, especially if I continue with a rotation. And that's my cat buster. The next one is also a Heaven and Earth design. I saw this during a recent sale and just fell in love with it. I was completely enamored. It is called Altered. The artwork is by Yvonne Gilbert. I just love the mystery of it. Okay, there we go. I love it. I think it's fantastic. And this is where I am. I'm working on finishing page 2, so not very far at all. But you can, the light coming in my window, you can see it's very detailed. You can see the folds and the curtains and all the variation of color, and a lot of people have commented on Instagram how odd it is that I park to the right. I work my Heaven and Earth or full coverage designs a page at a time, a color at a time. I tried doing it by column and parking the way Carolyn Mazzio tried to teach us all. It just wasn't for me. This works better for me. And I know many people have said that what works for you is what's right for you. And, you know, if that works for Carolyn, and it seems to work for everyone but me. So this is the way I like to do it. But I park to the right and use my wonderful Winton Junction needle necks. Little plug for her there. Hers are my favorite. I love them. I actually got some in from her today in the mail that I'll show in a second. My third whip is Prairie Moons. If I can get without a glare. Let's take this out of here. Prairie Moons, the red and the black too. Unfortunately, I got back into cross stitching about the time that they were retiring and closing everything out, so I wish I could find the first one. I love this. I think it's really pretty, and it goes with my decor, so it's going to be nice in my house. And this is where I am right now. I finished the top third, and I have the bottom 2 sections to go, and then I have to fill in with the color. The original design, it's done in red, but I think I'm going to fill it in with kind of a earthy, bright green. I think that'd be really pretty. And I think some other people have done that too. I think Quirks and Stitches on Instagram did hers in a green, or maybe it was burnt orange. I've seen 2 other color variations, so if that wasn't what you did, I'm sorry. But it's beautiful. I love it when people change colors. Let's see. I'll show you a UFO. I don't see me ever finishing this. Maybe one day I will, but right now, probably not. This is a Nancy Spruance design. It is called Fulton Mansion. And I love old houses and architecture, which is what drew me to this. I actually have several of her charts. I'll get to one. I probably won't finish it in a second. But here's the house, the design. It's beautiful. Look at that mansard roof. How could you not love that? Here's how far I got on it. Not very far at all. Not at all. The chart itself, and a lot of people have stitched her design, so obviously a lot of people don't mind it. And they come out beautiful. But the chart, and I know I can't show it to you, it's not a digitally rendered chart. It looks hand-drawn, and there are, it feels like thousands of fractional stitches, and I just don't enjoy it. And I stitch to get away from my work, and I stitch to lose myself, and if I'm not enjoying it, I'm not going to do it. So there's that. Maybe one day I will get back to it. I have had some finishes this year, so I will share those really quick. I have finished 3 projects this year. One I started a really, really long time ago. I started it for my sister-in-law, and I don't remember the magazine or anything that I got it out of, so I apologize for that. But I put it away, and I stepped away from stitching for probably like 8 years. I've been stitching since I was like 12 or 13. But earlier this year, a friend of mine, I met her because she married one of my best friends from college. And I got to know her a little bit through him and went to their wedding, and they're just wonderful people. But the stitchy anthropologist kind of renewed my love in cross stitch. So a little shout out to her there again. I know I've shouted out to her on Instagram before because I can't thank her enough. I'm glad that I have renewed this love. But after I was seeing her stitching and watching her do things, and she turned me on to Flosstube and the community on Instagram, and I was just like, wow, there's so much more out there than there was when I was stitching before. And seeing other people excited about it, it just got me excited. So I'll show you the finish that I had framed. I don't have the picture of it framed. I don't know why I didn't. But this, it's like a log cabin sampler. It's a terrible picture. I'm sorry, guys. But each house has a letter above it, and there's all these quilt blocks. It's really amazing. I was almost done, picked it back up in like January, and backstitched all of it, which took forever. I also did a variation on plum pudding, a different color variation earlier this year, and framed it and gave it to my mother-in-law when we went up to go see her in New Hampshire earlier this year. She loved it. But to me, it's very reminiscent of like cathedral church windows or a Celtic design, which she loves both. So she was enamored. Wait, sorry, I'm hitting buttons. That's the variation that I did on it. That's it framed. These are horrible images. I apologize. And then the other finish that I had this year was a Barbara Anna design called Rampant Cat's Sampler. I know one of my dear stitchy friends, Tattooed Stitcher, is working on this right now too. I can't wait to see his finish. I'm really excited. I need to frame this. I really also need to figure out this whole backwards thing. I love this. I love it. I love it. I love it. I need to have it framed. Or actually, I think I'm going to try to frame this myself. What really got me on this is the first time I had ever done 1/1 on linen. Wow. Good lighting, good lighting, good lighting. Like these little ravens, I think they are, on top of whatever those are. 1/1. All Hallows Eve, 1/1. It's crazy. I love it. Love this piece. That gets me to the haul that came in today, which are my needle knacks that came in from Winton Junction. Actually, open these up, take them out of here, show them to you. I stalked her Etsy shop like a crazy person when she posted on Instagram that she was coming out with a moth and butterfly line. Because she gave kind of a teaser photo of what she was going to have, and I They were so fantastic. Especially, there was one death head moth, and I love things that are horror related or kind of odd or macabre. So I was like, I've got to have that. I have to have the death head moth. So it was like a month. How dare you? It was like a month after she posted it on Instagram that they actually went live in her shop. And I had actually been talking to Tattooed Stitcher and telling him, oh my gosh, when is she going to put these up? I kind of really want one of those. And it was hilarious because I was sitting on my couch working on something for work, and I get an Instagram message for him that's like, they're up, go, go, go. But I ordered them the other day, and they came today. They're beautiful. And they're so big. I love that. I love bigger needle minders. So I'm probably going to stitch tonight. I'm trying to finish page 2 on Altered and watch some Silence of the Lambs while I'm doing that. So that'll be fun because my husband is gone playing role-playing games with his brother. Yeah, we're kind of a nerdy couple. He's Call of Cthulhu, Dungeons and Dragons, all that stuff. So if they're doing that tonight, I'll do my own nerdy stuff. Let's see. Future stitching plans. I think I'm a lot. I'm sorry. Public speaking court. You would think I would know better than that. Tattooed Stitcher and he and I, we've become really good friends. You know, when you find that person, and it's not that we're cliquey here, you could all be friends with us. We're really cool people like that. And we, you know, there's other friends that we have on Instagram that we DM with and talk back and forth. But he and I have basically the same taste. So we end up talking a lot about similar designs and how we plan to do this and what fabric we got for that. But we both ended up with the chart, The Village of Hawthorne Hollow. And I don't know how many of you have seen the Hawthorne Hollow series, but it's absolutely beautiful. It's by Carriage House Samplings. There's the Village of Hawthorne Hollow, there's Houses of Hawthorne Hollow, Farms of Hawthorne Hollow, etc., etc. They're all beautiful. So we had both bought the Village of Hawthorne Hollow, and I was like, you know, it would be fun if we stitched together. We started it at the same time and, you know, see each other's progress. And I said, you know, it would really be fun if we did a stitch along. And we invited anybody that wanted to do it. So we've done that. It hasn't started yet. It's going to start, I believe we're shooting for October 1st. And if you look us up on Instagram, anybody who wants to join us can join us. If you have it, if you want to kit it up by October, start with us. We're going to do, should show you the chart. Beautiful. Take out the plastic so you can see it really well. I think we're going to do a block a month. And each block is only about 100 by 100 stitches. I say only, but it's totally doable. I plan on starting the block at the beginning of each month, knocking it out, and then going back to my other stitching and rotation. Gosh, I love it. So pretty. And some of them are really heavy, and some of them aren't. So I figure people can play catch up from month to month if this is something they're interested in doing. It's probably, I don't know, 11, 12, 9, something like that of us that are going to do it now. So everyone's welcome. I know the Crafty Curator has jumped in. A lot of you know her from on here. Letitia Beckett, love her. And several other people whose names are eluding me right now. I love all of you, but I'm not good under pressure, so please forgive me. So we're going to do that. I'm going to start that at the beginning of October. I have some Picture This Plus Heritage linen coming to stitch it on, and I have my floss. I need to bobbinate everything and get all ready. Also, in my immediate future plans, I've never sewn on 40 count linen before. I'm primarily a 32 count kind of girl. It's what I've always sewn on. So it's what I'm used to. I bought 36 count for Village of Hawthorne Hollow just because I see other people do smaller counts and I like the compactness of it and the coverage. So I want to give that a try. I've done way back in the day, I had used some 18 count Ada, so I'm thinking it's going to be about the same size. I can do this. I got this. Plug in my light, I will be good. But I had thought, maybe I would want to do 40 count one day. So I bought a teeny tiny piece of, I think, Weeks Dye Works Havana. Love that color. Linen. In fact, I'll pull that out and show it to you. Thinking to myself, I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to, and it's going to be great. And now that's it, I'm going to show it to you. I'm not finding it in my stack of linen. Oh, here we go. Havana linen. So I bought this. Tiny. 40 count is tiny. I don't know how you people do it. And you say magnifiers and all of that stuff, but I don't know. It's so tiny. But I bought that, just a teeny tiny little piece. And then I bought this chart. And I thought, I can do this much and see if I like it or not. So I bought this. It's Carriage House Samplings, The Curse of the Raven. It's so pretty. And stitched up on this 40 count, it's going to be teeny tiny. And I think it's going to be adorable. I'm going to frame it, and I'm going to put it on my wall, and I'm going to love it forever. So I can do this much 40 count and maybe not go completely insane. And the only other thing that I have in my immediate plans is this chart. I had never seen it before. I stumbled upon it. I was on Etsy, and I was looking through the Cottage Needles Etsy store, and I found this. Never seen this designer anywhere else that I have shopped for cross-stitch stuff, so maybe I'll turn someone else on to a designer. The designer is the Courtney collection, and this design is called Mermaid's Folly. It's huge. It's going to be an undertaking. Let's see, the stitch count on this is 565 stitches wide by 225 high. There's a lot of negative space though. It's not complete full coverage, so that makes me feel better. So I got this, and I'll show you the fabric that I'm planning to do it on as well. I said I was going to show you. Here we go. This is a Lakeside Linens. This is 32 count. This is huge. I know it's going to make it even bigger. I'm aware. But I really want to enjoy this one. And if I'm spinning and using magnifiers and hot lights and looking like some crazy person on the couch, I'm not going to enjoy it that much. I know I'm not. So this is a 32 count Lakeside Linen Vintage Pear. This light just isn't good for this. I'm sorry, guys. It's kind of a yellowish brown, maybe some greening on it. It has just a little bit of modeling, not much. But I came across that on eBay where a seller was basically clearing out her stash. And it was a really odd size, because usually you see a stitcher's half and not like, I don't know what they call it. I worked in a fabric store once, what you would normally cut a half yard of, which is going to be 18 inches by whatever the width of the bolt is. So that's the size of this piece. So it's a very odd size, but it's perfect for Mermaid's Folly. And you'll see why. It's very long and skinny. And that is what we've got here, ladies and gentlemen. This mermaid in the middle, and all of her nipples showing glory. So if you're offended, I'm sorry for that. And then they call this a dragon and an old man. Old man has some rather odd feet and I believe wings, so he's something other than just an old man. But I think it's beautiful. I've never stitched in silks before, So I'm thinking I'm going, since this is all monochromatic, I think I'm going to pick up some NPI silks maybe and try this. Maybe a dark blue, which is what it appears this one was stitched in, or maybe like a deep earthy green. I think that'd be really pretty. I haven't decided yet, so if you have any opinions on what color floss I should use for this, fill out. I'm open to opinions. So pretty. And I guess that's it. If anybody has any interest in seeing my stash, which is more than what I have just shown you, not a lot more. It's not ridiculous. Not that those of you who have lots and lots and lots of stuff are ridiculous, because to be honest, I'm jealous and envious. And I'm slowly building mine up because I have what I call, I actually don't know what I would call it, but I fear that if something is about to retire or something is already out of print, if I don't get it right then, I'll never be able to get it, and then I'll be 20 years from now thinking, oh, I should have bought that. I would want to be stitching that right now. So I tend to impulse buy when it comes to out of print charts and closeouts, or when there's a sale. So there's that. I guess that's it. I will try to continue to do some monthly updates and let you guys know how things are going. What I'm going to try to do this month in preparation for the Village of Hawthorne Hollow Stitch Along is finish off that one page of Altered, and then I would really like to completely finish the Red and the Black too. I would like another finish under my belt before this year is up. And if I'm going to have 2 Heaven and Earth designs and Village going for a stitch along, that's the only choice of a finish. So I'm going to try to do that. And I signed up for the finish, I forget the actual name, but a finish for 2015 that Nays Cross Stitch Needles is doing. I think she has a Facebook page. I know she's on Flosstube. She's on Instagram too, and she's encouraging people to sign up with a project or projects to finish in 2015. So I think that's fantastic. My cats are into something, both of them. But that's it. Hopefully I haven't bored you guys to death and you enjoyed this a little bit. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to comment below. And I'll see you guys next time.